Hello guys and girls and welcome back to the channel. We've got another Dynasty video for you today. We're going to be looking at the Nihilakh Dynasty, going through their unique options, then I'm going to be explaining my top 3 units when using this actual Dynasty code. Now within that top 3 there'll also be an honourable mention from one of our paid members from our YouTube members area. So if you want to get involved in that, link will be down in the description below. So let's check out the Dynasty to begin. They've got the aggressively territorial Dynasty code. So pretty much all units that have this code are going to have the objective secured ability. And if they've already got the objective secured ability, so our troops, Necron warriors, Necron immortals, they're going to be counted as an additional model when determining control of an objective marker. Secondly, so each time an attack made with an AP of -1, which is allocated to a unit within our own deployment zone, it will simply go down to 0 as opposed to -1 AP. That one is sometimes forgettable, not quite armor or contempt there, but it is something. Then finally, if you're using Protocol of Eternal Guardian and that is active, then you're going to be getting both the directives for that command protocol. So this Dynasty specifically is about taking territory, taking board control, holding on to objectives, holding on to ground. But you kind of need to bear in mind that you also need to be tough enough and resilient enough to actually hold on to that ground. There's no point taking an objective and then losing your unit before your next turn. So let's move on to the actual protocol that we just mentioned, Eternal Guardian. Directive 1, each time an attack is made against our unit and we didn't make a normal move, advance or fall back, then we're going to receive the benefits of light cover. That one, there's a little bit of a hidden gem within there, because if you actually go second in a battle round, then you're pretty much going to always have light cover, because your opponent's obviously going first that battle round. So as soon as they start shooting at your units, you've technically not moved that battle round at all. So therefore you're going to be always gaining light cover if you go second. If you do go first and do move, then of course you do lose that light cover. Then Directive 2, each time an enemy unit declares a charge move against our units and we're not in engagement range already, we can either hold steady or set to defend. Now if you choose to hold steady, then you can do a 5+ overwatch as opposed to a 6. Or if you set to defend, then you cannot overwatch, however you get a +1 to your hit rolls. So there are some perks to both of those options, and if you're taking this Dynasty code, you will get both of these directives. So let's look at some of the unique items available to this Dynasty. So first of all, the Warlord trait, Precognitive Strike. If your Warlord is within engagement range of enemy units, your Warlord can fight first that phase. Not too bad at all. The stratagem for 1 command point, Reclaim a Lost Empire. This one actually I think is really good. In the shooting phase, a Nihilakh infantry unit can do an action while still shooting, and the action of course won't fail. Now one of our command protocols actually allows you to do that, which is Protocol of Sudden Storm, Directive 2. But having this stratagem available to this Dynasty code means we don't need to use the Protocol of Sudden Storm as our permanent protocol, because you've still got the option of doing actions and still firing because of the stratagem. And then the relic is Infinity Mantle, a Nihilakh model only, add 1 to the armor saving throw, and you also get a 6+ feel no pain save. So it's adding to our resiliency, which we kind of spoke about in the intro. There's no point taking over an objective if you can't actually hold it for a turn. So let's get on to my top 3 Nihilakh units, just my opinion of course. These are the kind of units that you're likely to see when you're playing the Nihilakh Dynasty. Things that are very resilient, such as Lich Guards with the swords and shields, Canoptek Wraiths because of their inbun saves, Canoptek Spiders, Canoptek Scarabs, all the Canoptek stuff really. Then also on top of that, all our troop options, because they count as 2 models as opposed to 1, so your Necron warriors and Necron immortals. So I've thrown in the Technomancer there because he's going to bring back some of these models, and also the Catacomb Command Barge. Why wouldn't you want a Catacomb Command Barge with objective secured? In fact, that does take us on to our 3rd selection today. I've gone with the Catacomb Command Barge. So why have I gone with the Command Barge? First of all, it's got 9 wounds and it's got the quantum shielding ability. So it's got the 5+ invulnerable save, and you cannot wound it on less than a 4+. And further to add to that, if you wanted to take that Warlord trait we mentioned already, the Infinity Mantle, you could turn that 3+ armor save to a 2+ and get a 6+ feel no pain on this guy as well. If that relic didn't float your boat, then of course you could also use the Veil of Darkness relic. He is a character after all. You can put relics on your characters and you could be bringing alongside a Dynasty core unit. Now the other thing I really like about this model is the fact that it's got a 12-inch movement and it's also got the fly keyword. Bear in mind that the Command Barge has got objective secured as well. Be flying over 12 inches, landing on an objective with objective secured, literally stealing the objective, and is very likely to survive until the next turn. Now why I would select the Catacomb Command Barge over some of our other vehicles, such as an Annihilation Barge, such as a Ghost Ark, because you can kit out this vehicle as you see fit. If your list is lacking in the shooting department, you can keep your Staff of Light, maybe even use the Voltaic Staff Relic. You've also got the Gauss Cannon or the Tesla Cannon option, but if you wanted a bit more melee in your faction, you've got the options of the Hyperphase Sword, Staff of Light again, Void Blade, War Scythe. There's loads of options. This is pretty much a DIY Overlord, but in a barge. So don't forget your barge has also got the ability, such as Mile Will Be Done, to add 1 to the hit rolls for core units within 9 inches. Now that does also affect him if you chose to, although he does already hit on a 2+, but if there was some negative modifiers, yeah, you can still use this on the command barge itself. And the Relentless Marcher, don't forget, also works on himself. But that's why I've got the Catacomb command barge in as my third option today. Let's move on to the second. So we've gone with another fast unit and another very resilient unit, which is the Canoptek Wraiths. So another fast unit as mentioned, 12-inch movement, and they've also got that Wraith form ability. They can move, advance or fall back, or even charge through other enemy models and terrain features as well. So they've effectively got fly without having fly, so they can't actually attack aircrafts and things like that. But even if it's obscuring terrain or impassable terrain, it does not matter. These guys can go straight through them, no problem. Now they've also got that 4+ invulnerable save with that same ability Wraith form. That's going to make them very resilient, especially with their 3 wounds. And then to give them a little bit of extra punch, they've got the Slinking Strike ability, so they're eligible to shoot and declare a charge in the turn in which they fell back. So what that actually means is, obviously you've made the charge already, or you've been charged, you can fall back on your own turn. If you've got any shots going, you can do that. Then you can recharge and you can pretty much guarantee you're fighting first. Unless of course there's some sort of abilities that don't allow you to fight first. But yeah, you should always be fighting first with the Canoptek Wraiths. Now remember the actual Dynasty code itself, objective secured. When you got objective secured on these guys, with 3 wounds a pop, toughness 5, you're going to quite comfortably steal some objectives. Whether it's primaries, whether it's secondaries, or even denying primaries and secondaries as well, don't forget. These guys are definitely going to be the ones to do it. Now point scoring isn't the only string to their bow, they've also got weapons of course, so in melee they've got either the Vicious Claws, strength 6, -2 AP, 2 damage, nice Space Marine killers there, or if you wanted to go after lesser opponents that have got say toughness 3, then you bring out the Whip Coils. You get 2 attacks instead of 1, now they're only going to be strength 4, but you're getting double the amount of attacks, so that'll be 8 attacks per Canoptek Wraith. Only -1 AP and 1 damage, but that is all you pretty much need. Now if you wanted to add range attacks to your Canoptek Wraiths, I personally don't like doing it, but I know some of you guys do. You've either got the option of the Particle Caster, which is a 2-shot pistol at 12-inch range, or you've got the Transdimensional Beamer, also 12-inch range, Assault 1, but that damage is 3, so it can actually remove a Terminator model. Now next one to the members' honourable mention, and today's member is going to be Yaezist Ik, and he's selected the Lokhust Destroyers. Not a unit that I bring out often if I'm honest with you, but let's go through why he's selected the Lokhust Destroyers today. So it's another fast unit of course, not as fast as those Wraiths as we've just mentioned, but they've still got a nice 8-inch movement and they've also got the fly keyword. Now the best part about these guys is the fact that they're an infantry core unit, so virtually all the secondary objectives are available to these guys, so they can pretty much score any of the secondary objectives, but this is where you bring out that stratagem, Reclaim a Lost Empire. Because you definitely want to still be shooting with these guys, and if you're say doing Raise the Banners for example, you don't want to be giving up your shooting to do that action, so therefore you've got the stratagem, you can do the action, still fire your weapons, not a problem. And as already mentioned in the intro as well, this actually saves you from using the command protocol of Sunstorm all game round, because yeah, you don't need it, you've got the stratagem right there. Now weapon wise, they've got the Gauss cannons, 24-inch range, heavy 3, strength 6, -3 AP, D3 damage, another decent infantry killer. And the best part about this weapon is the fact that you can reroll hit rolls of a 1 because they've got the Hardwire for Destruction ability, and you're not going to be suffering any penalties to your hit rolls when moving and firing heavy weapons. So you still can move 8 inches with that fly keyword, pop 3 shots, hitting on 3s, re-rolling the 1s, no issue there. Now the best thing in my opinion to why this unit is so good is the fact that you can hide a Lokhust Heavy Destroyer within the actual unit. Because you can take 6 Lokhust Destroyers, then 1 additional Lokhust Heavy Destroyer, and it's only going to cost you 5 more points. Now some of you Eagle Eye players will actually notice that the Lokhust Destroyers are only 40 points and the Lokhust Heavy Destroyers are 50 points. However, you only spend 5 more points to get that Lokhust Heavy Destroyer within this actual unit. So you're actually saving 5 points by doing it this way as opposed to having a single Lokhust Heavy Destroyer in his own unit. Not only that, the Lokhust Heavy Destroyer's unit name itself is just Lokhust Destroyers. So therefore, if you're looking at the rule of 3, you can only have only 3 units of the same name. It means you can still have 3 completely separate units of Lokhust Heavy Destroyers, because this unit isn't a Lokhust Heavy Destroyer unit, it's a Lokhust Destroyer unit. But in my opinion, the best anti-tank weapon we've got in our codex is right here, the Gauss Destructor, 36-inch range, heavy 1, strength 10, -4 AP, and the damage is lovely. 3d3 damage, averaging 6 per Lokhust Heavy Destroyer shot there. Now optionally, you can take the Emitic Exterminator, same range, 36-inch range, heavy 3d3 shots, so an average of 6 shots this time, strength 7, -1 AP, 1 damage with the blast keyword. It's not too bad of an anti-infantry weapon if I'm honest with you, but the codex does have quite a lot of anti-infantry options, so we don't really need that weapon. I'm definitely looking more towards that Gauss Destructor. Now ways to buff this unit: the Extermination Protocol stratagem for 2 command points to reroll all your wound rolls. I think it's a little bit too pricey personally. 2 command points in the Nephilim chapter approved, yeah, quite pricey for me. Now you can get these guys hitting on 2s as well as rerolling 1s with an Overlord model with the My Will Be Done ability. Or optionally you take a Lokhust Lord or a Scorpic Lord and you can get them to reroll their wound rolls of a 1 with the United in Destruction aura. If you wanted to bring some of your Cryptex out, a Technomancer will do the job to bring one of these models back each and every turn. Or alternatively, you bring a Chronomancer with a Chronometron ability to give them a 5+ invulnerable save. Now they're not going to need the reroll to the charge roll because they should not be charging, but a 5+ invulnerable save could be quite handy. So that's our honourable mention from one of our members today. Let's get on to my number 1 pick for the Nihilakh Dynasty, and I've gone with the Canoptek Scarabs. And I've always said this, in my opinion, the best unit in the codex. Let's get on to why. Another fast moving unit, 10-inch movement with that fly keyword. And of course this is Nihilakh, so they're going to have objectives secured on top of that. So that's pretty mega. Now they've got 4 wounds apiece. For only 15 points you're getting 4 wounds. That's going to take up a lot of your opponent's offense just to clear our Scarabs off the table. Now you can maximise the unit and take a unit of 9 of them. That's going to be 36 wounds. Again, that's going to take a lot of punch to get through. The main reason why I think they're so good. Now they can be doing most of the secondary objectives that we have. Specifically they can be doing the Necron ones, the Treasures of Aeons, Ancient Machineries. At the moment those ones are pretty good selections if you're playing Necrons. Now I quite like to use my Scarabs to literally screen off certain units such as a Nightbringer so that those Scarab Swarms are taking the smite attacks. You don't want your Nightbringer taking any psychic damage. You want to definitely minimise the amount of damage he takes per phase. Or alternatively, you could be screening off that Lokhust Heavy Destroyer that we just spoke about. We don't want those guys getting caught up in melee. We'd rather let the Scarabs take the damage. Now as for some synergy, you're mainly looking towards those Canoptek Spiders because you can replenish one of your Canoptek Scarabs in your own turns. Then lastly, Scarabs are pretty good with terrain features because they sit so flat on their bases. Quite difficult to get line of sight on them. So if you've got them behind a terrain feature, say a ruin for example, your opponent is going to struggle to get line of sight. Now alternatively, what you can actually also use these guys for is to literally just block up avenues, block up the gaps between the terrain features. It doesn't have to be ruins, it could be hills, mountains and things like that. Just block things up, especially so that melee units can't be getting through. You don't want, say, Chaos Rhinos bombing through into your backlines. Block them up, bog them down with the Scarabs, let them fight Scarabs for a couple of turns because at the end of the day, 15-point models, they've done their job. So guys, that is the Nihilakh Dynasty with my top 3 selections and the honourable mention from Jar Ezis Ikt. So other than that guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are finding these videos useful. Thank you all for watching and I'll see you next time.